So, pulbas. Okay. So, first of all, you hold the Phurba like that with the top just sticking out above your fingers. And you put it up to your forehead. And you are kind of visualizing yourself in the center of all things, in the center of the mandala of Dorje Phurba and the center of the world, because the Phurba represents the world tree. It's the center of everything. So you're holding there and you're connecting to the center, and it's like you're making connection with the spirit and you're kind of centering yourself. So you just do that for a moment or two until you kind of feel like you've made the connection. And then you roll the Phurba in your hands. As much again as you feel that you need to, and as fast or as slow as you feel you need to. So you roll it, and that's activating, that's energizing the Phurba. And when you have done that, you bring it up to your forehead, Om, Ah at the throat, and Hung at the heart. So you've done all that, you've rolled it, you've brought it up, and you're going Om, Ah, Hung. And then you circle your head with the Phurba 3 times. Strange talking to a camera while I'm doing it. I'm normally kind of just doing it and I'm in the zone and I'm having to think about it. Now it's most odd. And then around your torso 3 times. And this is kind of like putting the Phurba as making bands around you. There's similar practices that the shamans do with the wooden horses. The Mongolian shamans that use the wooden horses, they do the same thing. They gather the horses together in their hand and they pass them around 3 times. So it's the same kind of thing. It's a way of connecting and kind of putting the energy of them all the way around you. So you do that with the Phurba. So you've done that 3 times, and then I bring it up again, holding the mantra, the mudra like that, and I bring it up and put the blunt end on my heart, and I'm holding it like that so that both hands have got that mudra, and you put it against your heart, and at that point I say a 4-line Tibetan prayer which I will send. If I can remember it without having to think about it. I'm not in the zone. It's very strange doing it kind of like this. Chok cho dosam sangre tam kre kri Trin le trindu drak pokor shekpa gurme se tendre gudrel ku de papa la la shak salo. And then letting go of the one hand, holding the Phurba and kind of doing a kind of like a figure of 8. I bring it, and I'm saying the mantra at this point, so I say the mantra 3 times. So, Om BenzaKili Kiliya Soha BighanenBam Hum Phet. Om BenzaKili Kiliya Soha BighanenBam Hum Phet. Om BenzaKili Kiliya Soha BighanenBam Hum Phet. So on the 3rd Phet, you are doing that mudra with your left hand. It's the same mudra. It's like you're holding an invisible Phurba, and you put your Phurba down into the hole in your fingers, and that is a protection mudra. I always think of it as being a little bit like holding a quarterstaff. It's like you're standing there rock solid with this sort of wooden staff. So you're standing there with the Phurba. So it's a defensive, it's a protective mudra. And from that position, I then visualize that I am putting a Phurba down, sticking it into the ground in front of me. Boom. And then I visualize that I'm putting a Phurba down in the ground to the right of me, and then behind me, and then to the left of me, and then in front and to the left, and in front and to the right, and behind and to the right, and behind and to the left, and then down underneath my spine, and then up into the sky. And each time I'm doing it, I'm saying the mantra, so I just would visualize those things. Om BenzaKili Kiliya soha BighanenBam hom Phet. So you're saying that 10 times. And that's the beginning bit of the practice that I do with the Phurba. And then I will tend to bring it up again to my heart, and with the mantras, with the mala, I'll do 108 mantras. So that's the basic Phurba practice, preliminaries, and the practice that I do each morning. And then of course you can work with the Phurba, working around somebody, visualizing them in front. I'm doing healing work at the moment for somebody, protection work, so every morning I'm placing the 10 Phurba's around them. I visualize them here in front of me, and their head is here, so I'm going outside their head and I'm planting a Phurba, and I'm doing it there, and I'm doing it at the bottom of their feet, and I'm doing it on the other side, and then up by their shoulder, and then the other shoulder, and down by their knees. And then I go underneath them and stab it into the ground, and then I go above them and I'm putting it into the sky. So they've got the 10 Phurba's around them. With them, what I also do is I start at the head and I do an Om Ahung mantra by putting a band. So I do Om Ahung, and I'm putting a band of fire all the way round, from the tip of their head right round past their feet to the tip of their head again. And I'm imagining my Phurba as leaving a trail of fire. So Om Mahung, Om Mahung, Om Mahung. I do that 3 times, and that's around them on that plane. And then I do it so that starting again at the head, I go Om Ahung, Om Ahung, Om Ahung. So that's 3 bands of fire around them in that plane. So it's like you've done that plane, the flat plane, and you've done that plane. So there's bands going that way, and there's bands going that way. And then the last one is to do bands going that way. So you're sealing them in bands of fire. So I go to their belly button, and where are we? I go that way to their belly button, and I do Om Ahung, Om Ahung, Om Ahung. So you're sealing them in 9 bands of fire coming from the tip of the Phurba, and each of the 3 separate groups are the 3 different 3-dimensional planes of the person, if that makes sense. Hopefully you'll have gathered that from the video. That's a protection practice for people when they are in difficult spaces and you're doing healing work for them, and you need them to kind of be protected and safe and contained. And I either do it visualizing the person in front of me, or sometimes I use like a little effigy, a little doll of some sort, made of leather or made of metal or made of wood sometimes, and I put that on an altar, very often on a mirror, and I work with them like that. And like I say, I'm doing that for somebody at the moment. So every morning at the end of my Phurba practice, I'm doing that work, putting the bands of fire around them. Hope that makes sense. And that's it. It's pretty simple practice.